Guess what I got? I got my book. Let's take it in and open it up and take a look. Okay, Jack, let's take a look at what we got. Get some scissors here. And open her up. Jack, don't get inside the envelope. Here he comes upon me now. Dun 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 dun. Alright. Got my book. Been waiting for this a long time. And the colors look pretty good. Looks like the book got a little bit wrinkled in transport, but I got some more books coming next Wednesday, so that's fine. But I really like the colors. The colors are looking good. And then we'll open it up. And then if you're looking with the glasses here, that 3D sticks up off the page. And then all that stuff in the background goes farther back. And then in this page is my dedication, which I dedicated it to my good friend Jeff Kahn and my other good friend Sandy Batko. Jeff Kahn's like a friend of mine that's also an artist. And then Sandy Batko is somebody I went to high school with, and she's been a cheerleader for all the work I've been doing. She gives me positive vibes to continue. And then on this page, we got, it explains what an anaglyph 3D image is. And then I also put in a template so that if kids can't get their glasses, they can make their own, and it explains how. It would work much better with real glasses, but that might work. And then this page here, the bubbles all are in the 3D. They're floating around the desk and in front and behind Mr. Roundbottom there. And then every other page, I've got like a poem written to describe what's on the image there. This first image here on this page is for microscopes. And what I did with the book is I just kind of explained different factions of science so kids understand, what the tools are or what types of fields there are in science. And then right here, I put a little thing I called the brain candy, in which it's like little tidbits of information on each item that I depicted in the picture. So this one's telling you what a microscope is, and it's got a little floating brain right here to show them where that little tidbit is. And this page is talking about plants, so of course I got to put a big giant Venus flytrap trying to get a fly there. The fly, when you're looking at the 3D glasses, is coming way out of the page, and then the plant's sort of in the midground, and then the Mr. Roundbottom's in the background, and then the blackboard's even farther back. And then on this one, I've got a poem about plants called Plant Power. And then I got another one of those little brain candy things here talking about what plants are. And then this page I call Frog Frenzy, where Mr. Roundbottom's got frogs in the class that people are inspecting and looking at. And then they get out of control and start jumping all over the class. And some of the kids are happy and some of them are surprised. And then, again, I call this poem Frog Frenzy. And then the tidbits about frogs and how they start out as pollywogs and tadpoles, and they grow legs and lungs and become frogs. This one was a fun image I created because when you look at it with the 3D glasses, the magnifying glass is sticking out and her eye is magnified. And then this leaf with the little ladybug on it is like way up in the foreground. And then in the background, I've got Reggie the bird flying there. And then even farther back, we got the boy chasing the butterfly. And then in this one, I've got bugs and beetles. And then the tidbits about what makes an insect an insect. Then this one, of course, dinosaurs. You know me, I like dinosaurs. I got the kids in a museum, and there's a stegosaurus, and the stegosaurus is in the background, and then this boy here is in the furthest foreground. And then I've got Dinosaur Day, which is also the name of my other book, and a little poem about dinosaurs, and then a little blurb explaining what a dinosaur is. Then this page, we got Beanbot. I may make a whole book about Beanbot. Basically what Beanbot is the kids took little parts like a Roomba, and they've got a box that had cans of beans in it, and then they got a bucket and a light bulb, and they built this robot, and he's like singing and dancing and doing things with the children. They're all having fun. And then, of course, I've got Building Beanbot as the theme for that poem. And then I explain what robots are in the little brain candy marker. And I like this image the best. I think it shows the 3D the best. I mean, you can't tell looking on this video, but when you look with the glasses, all these little items are floating out in the air and coming towards the magnet. And then I got Magnet Marble, and explains what magnets are and how they work and what makes a magnet a magnet. And then this page is electricity. So Mr. Roundbottom's got some wires, and the little boy's got some wires, and they build a little circuit to make the light bulb light up. And then, of course, I'm talking about electric power and what electricity is. And then this one, I personally like astronomy. I even got my own little telescope here. And I've always had telescopes since I was a kid. So I got Mr. Roundbottom explaining what a telescope is, and the boy's all excited. And Mr. Roundbottom, actually on the top of his house, he has a little astronomy thing where he's got a telescope on his roof, and he goes out and looks at night. And then I got Telescope Tribute, and it explains what a telescope is. And then this one was kind of a fun one because I was able to make the rocket look like it's coming out of the page. And one of my friends just said his daughter likes this page the best, I guess because the rocket's sticking out so much or something. And then I'm talking about rockets, Rocket Rally, and they're building model rockets there. He's got a model rocket, and then it explains what a rocket is. So I'm trying to make this fun for the kids with the 3D and the images, but I'm also trying to put a little education in, so each page is talking about different types of science you can study. Here, I went a little crazy on this one. You got Mr. Roundbottom in a spacesuit and Reggie, his bird, also in a spacesuit, and they're floating out in space there. Wouldn't really happen, but yeah, it was fun for the kids. And then I got space exploration. I wrote a little poem about that. And then I've got what space is in the little brain candy thing. And then on this page, Mr. Roundbottom is mixing something up, making a lot of smoke, and the kids are all surprised. Of course, it's not anything that's unsafe. And Mr. Roundbottom is careful about what he does in the class, but he does wear his goggles, and so does the child. Whenever you're doing chemistry, you should wear goggles and maybe gloves and an apron. And then it's Formulas for Fun is the poem on that one. And then the little brain candy is just talking about what chemistry is. And then for the last page, Mr. Roundbottom goes home. He visits his neighbor, Rhonda, and they have, as usual, some peach tea. Sometimes she has pie. This time he doesn't have any pie. And I don't know where Reggie is. Reggie's not there today. So they're just drinking some nice tea, and Mr. Roundbottom's explaining, how much that he's proud of his children in the class because they want to learn science so much. And then that's the story, and then the next couple pages, I've got a little page explaining what 3D anaglyph glasses are, and then it explains how the drawings work, where you've got a blue drawing and you've got a red drawing, and they're slightly off from each other as far as positioning. So what happens is the red lens that you're wearing in front of your eye will only see the blue lines because the red in the drawing disappears into the red of the lens. Same thing with the blue. The blue only sees the red drawing because the blue is absorbed into the blue lens and you don't see it. And then when you stick them together, it creates a 3D image. So I've got the bird sticking out and a star behind him going in the background just to show how those two drawings work together. And then, of course, I got the little floating brain. And then I got a little promo page here that says, hey, kids, check out these other fun books. And then I got my old Mr. Roundbottom books with the Bubble Bonanza and Dinosaur Day there so that they can get those if they're interested. And then the very last page is me, of course, about the author. I explain who I am and what I'm doing. And I got myself sticking the book out of the page when you wear the glasses. And then, of course, the cover, and I explain on the back cover that, there are no 3D glasses. I wanted to include 3D glasses with this, but I couldn't arrange it. So I wrote on everything. So, I don't want to disappoint any kids. They get the book and they don't have glasses. So I explained that they're not included, and then you have to go online and get your own separately. And that's my Mr. Roundbottom in Amazing 3D book. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye-bye.